You know what keeps most people stuck in the same place year after year? It's not lack of opportunity. It's not bad luck. It's not even lack of talent. It's something far simpler and far more painful. They're waiting. Waiting for the right amount of resources. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting until they have what someone else has. And while they wait, life is passing them by. But here's what I want you to understand today, and I mean really understand deep in your bones. The game has already begun, and you're already in it. The question isn't whether you have enough. The question is, what are you doing with what you already have? Let me take you back to one of the most revolutionary economic and spiritual principles ever taught. A story so powerful that 2,000 years later, we're still unpacking its wisdom. Jesus told a parable about 3 servants who were each given different amounts of money by their master. And what happened next reveals a truth that's shaking up lives and economies to this very day. Now, before you think this is just another religious story with no practical application, let me stop you right there. What if I told you that the principle Jesus laid out in this parable is the exact same principle that separates the wealthy from the broke, the fulfilled from the frustrated, the impactful from the invisible? What if this ancient wisdom holds the key to understanding why some people seem to multiply everything they touch, while others can't seem to get ahead no matter how hard they try? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might change the trajectory of your entire life. Here's how the story goes. A master is going on a journey, and he calls 3 of his servants. To the first one, he gives 5 talents. To the second, he gives 2 talents. And to the third, he gives 1 talent. Now, a talent wasn't just pocket change. We're talking about a significant sum of money, roughly equivalent to 15 to 20 years worth of wages for a day laborer. This was serious capital. And here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. The master didn't give them equal amounts. He gave them different amounts according to their ability. No apologies, no explanations, no committee meetings about fairness. He simply distributed resources based on what he knew each person could handle. And you know what? That's exactly how life works. Some of you were born into families with connections and resources. Others of you started with nothing but your determination and a dream. Some of you have natural charisma that opens doors. Others have to work twice as hard to get half the attention. Some of you have health and energy to burn. Others are managing challenges that would break most people. The question isn't whether this is fair. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because here's what the master in this story cared about. And here's what life cares about. It's not how much you started with. It's what you do with what you have. But here's where it gets really interesting. And here's where most people miss the entire point of the story. Are you ready for this? The 2 servants who received different amounts, 5 talents and 2 talents, they both did the exact same thing. And when they came back to give an account, do you know what happened? The multiplication principle. Your starting point doesn't determine your outcome. The servant with 5 talents went out immediately and put that money to work. He traded with it, invested it, took calculated risks. And when the master returned, he had doubled it to 10 talents. The servant with 2 talents did the exact same thing. He didn't sit around feeling sorry for himself because he didn't get 5. He didn't waste time comparing his portion to someone else's portion. He didn't make excuses about how if only I had more, then I could really do something. No, he took his 2 talents and got to work. And when the master returned, he had doubled his to 4 talents. Now here's what's absolutely beautiful about this. The master gave them the exact same response. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Do you see it? The servant who started with 5 didn't get more praise than the servant who started with 2. The master didn't say to the one with 4 talents, well, it's good, but you know, if you had started with 5 like the other guy, you'd have 10 instead of just 4. No, the measurement wasn't about the amount. It was about the multiplication. It was about the faithfulness with what they'd been given. This is the compound effect in action. This is the principle that will either make you or break you. It's not about where you start. It's about what you do with your start. Now, I know some of you are thinking, okay, that's inspiring and all, but what about the real world? What about my actual situation? Let me tell you something that's going to shake you. The compound effect doesn't care about your feelings. It's a law like gravity. It works whether you believe in it or not. And right now, at this very moment, it's working in your life, either for you or against you. The real-world application: you're either multiplying or losing. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. Look at your life right now. Look at what you had 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Look at your skills, your relationships, your finances, your health, your personal growth. Are you multiplying or are you burying? Because here's what happened to the third servant, the one with one talent. He didn't invest it. He didn't risk it. He didn't even try. His reasoning? I was afraid, so I went out and hid your talent in the ground. And the master's response was devastating. You wicked, lazy servant. He took the one talent away and gave it to the one who had 10. Now, I need you to understand something crucial here. The servant with one talent didn't steal anything. He didn't gamble it away. He didn't waste it on foolish living. He simply buried it. He preserved it. He played it safe. And that was considered wicked and lazy. Why? Because in a world governed by the compound effect, standing still is actually moving backward. Inflation eats away at money. Muscles atrophy without use. Skills become obsolete. Relationships fade without investment. Knowledge becomes outdated. If you're not multiplying, you're losing. There's no neutral ground. And here's the part that stings. To everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This sounds harsh until you understand what it's really saying. It's not about rich getting richer and poor getting poorer in some arbitrary, unfair system. It's about the mathematical reality of compounding, both positive and negative. The person who uses what they have, who invests, who takes action, who multiplies, creates a momentum that attracts more opportunities, more resources, more growth. Success compounds. Skills compound. Reputation compounds. Relationships compound. But the person who doesn't use what they have, who hides, who hoards, who plays it safe out of fear, creates a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. What you don't use, you lose. The opportunities stop coming. The skills rust. The potential evaporates. Decline compounds just as surely as growth compounds. So let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What are you burying right now? What talent, what gift, what opportunity, what resource are you sitting on because you're afraid, because you're waiting, because you think it's not enough? The burial ground. What are you hiding in fear? Maybe it's that business idea you've been thinking about for 3 years, but haven't taken the first step on because you don't have enough capital. Newsflash. The servants in the parable didn't use their own money. They used what was given to them, and they still multiplied it. Maybe it's that book you want to write, that course you want to create, that YouTube channel you want to start, but you're waiting until you're more qualified or until you have better equipment. Meanwhile, people with half your knowledge and worse equipment are out there building audiences and making impact because they started with what they had. Maybe it's that difficult conversation you need to have, that relationship you need to repair, that apology you need to make, but you're waiting for the right time or the right words. And while you wait, the compound effect of unresolved conflict is silently destroying something precious. Maybe it's your health. You know you need to start moving, eating better, taking care of yourself, but you think, what's the point of working out for 20 minutes? What's the point of one healthy meal? It's not enough to make a difference, but it is. 20 minutes a day compounds into 121 hours a year. One healthy meal a day compounds into 365 better choices. Small actions, multiplied over time, create massive results. Maybe it's your mind. You have access to more information than any generation in human history. Libraries in your pocket, courses at your fingertips, mentors on YouTube, but you're scrolling through social media instead, watching other people build their dreams while your potential sits buried in the ground of distraction and entertainment. Whatever you're burying, it's costing you more than you think. Because here's the truth about the compound effect. It starts small. The servant with 5 talents didn't return with 500. He returned with 10. The servant with 2 talents didn't return with 200. He returned with 4. It doubled. That's it. But that doubling was everything. You don't need a 1,000% return. You just need to be faithful with what you have. You just need to put it to work. You just need to take the next step with your current resources, your current knowledge, your current abilities. Now, I want to address something that might be eating at you. Maybe you're thinking, but what if I fail? What if I try and it doesn't work? What if I invest my time, my energy, my resources, and I lose it all? Let me tell you something that will set you free. The real risk, the illusion of safety. The servant who buried his talent thought he was playing it safe. He thought he was protecting what he'd been given. But in reality, he took the biggest risk of all, the risk of never finding out what was possible. He risked his master's displeasure. He risked losing even the little he had. He risked being called wicked and lazy. He risked being cast out. And all because he was trying to avoid risk. The safest-looking choice was the most dangerous one. Here's what I need you to understand. In a world governed by the compound effect, there is no safety in standing still. You can't preserve your life by hiding it. You can't protect your potential by leaving it unused. You can't safeguard your future by refusing to invest in it. The two servants who multiplied their talents, they took risks. They put money into circulation. They made deals. They traded. They exposed themselves to the possibility of loss. And yes, in the real world, sometimes investments don't pay off. Sometimes businesses fail. Sometimes efforts don't produce the results we hoped for. But you know what? Even when an investment doesn't return what you hoped, you gain something invaluable: experience, knowledge, resilience, clarity. You learn what doesn't work, which is half the battle in figuring out what does. You build the muscle of action-taking, which is worth more than any single result. And most importantly, you stay in the game. You keep the compound effect working in your favor, even if individual attempts don't all succeed. The only true failure is the failure to try. Think about it. What did the servant with one talent gain by burying it? Nothing. He learned nothing. He grew nothing. He achieved nothing. He protected himself right into irrelevance. But here's something else I need you to catch. Something that changes everything about how you view your current situation and your future potential. The multiplication mandate. You were given what you have for a reason. The master in this parable didn't distribute the talents randomly. He gave to each according to their ability. That means every single resource, opportunity, talent, gift, and challenge you have right now was measured out specifically for you, according to what you can handle and what you can become. You're not under-resourced for your purpose. You might be under-resourced for someone else's purpose, but not for yours. That person you keep comparing yourself to on Instagram, they have what they need for their journey. You have what you need for yours. Those people who seem to have it so much easier, who were born into privilege, who had doors open that you had to kick down, they have what they need for their assignment. You have what you need for yours. Stop measuring your 2 talents against someone else's 5. Start multiplying your 2. Because here's the secret that will change your life. You will never multiply someone else's talents. You can only multiply your own. All the time you spend coveting what others have, resenting what you don't have, wishing you'd started with more. That's time you're not spending putting your own talents to work. That's time the compound effect is working against you instead of for you. The master wasn't upset that the third servant only had 1 talent. He was upset that the servant did nothing with it. He buried it. He wasted the opportunity. He despised the gift by refusing to use it. And can I tell you something that might sting, but needs to be said? Every day you don't use what you have is a day you're telling the universe, this isn't enough. I'm not enough. I'll wait until I have more. But more never comes to those who won't steward less. Increase never comes to those who bury what they already have. Now, let me show you something that's going to blow your mind and give you hope at the same time. Remember how I said the compound effect works both ways? Well, here's the beautiful part. The hope of small beginnings. Starting today changes everything. Let's do some math. If you took just one small action today toward your goal, just one, and then tomorrow you did the same thing, and the day after that, and the day after that, do you know what happens? In a year, you'll have taken 365 actions. That's 365 more than if you'd waited. That's 365 chances for the compound effect to work its magic. But here's where it gets crazy. Let's say you commit to getting just 1% better every day at whatever skill, habit, or area you're working on. Just 1%. That seems so small, it's almost laughable, right? But 1% improvement every day for a year doesn't equal 365% improvement. Because of compounding, it equals 37 times better. You'll be 37 times better at the end of the year than you were at the beginning. Conversely, if you get 1% worse every day, if you neglect, if you bury, if you waste, in a year you'll be at basically zero. You'll have almost nothing left of whatever potential you started with. That's the compound effect. That's why what you do today matters more than you think. The servant with 5 talents didn't go out and try to turn it into 5,000 overnight. He just put it to work. He took the next logical step. He made the next trade. He had the next conversation. And one day built on another. One success compounded into the next, until 5 became 10. The same is true for you. You don't need to have your whole life figured out. You don't need a 10-year plan. You don't need to see the top of the mountain before you take the first step. You just need to use what you have where you are right now. You have time, even if it's just 30 minutes a day. Use it. Put it toward your goal instead of into mindless scrolling. 30 minutes a day is 182 hours a year. That's more than a full month of work days. What did you build with that? You have knowledge? Even if you think it's basic, share it. Someone is 3 steps behind you, desperately needing what you already know. Teaching others compounds your own understanding. You have money? Even if it's just a little, invest it. Whether it's in your education, your business, your health, or actual investments. Make your money work for you instead of sitting idle, or worse, being slowly eroded by inflation and impulse purchases. You have relationships? Even if your network seems small, nurture them. One genuine connection, properly valued and maintained, can open doors you never imagined. Your network compounds through time and authenticity. You have creativity? Even if you think your ideas aren't good enough, express them. Create that thing you've been thinking about. The first version doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to exist. Because you can't improve what doesn't exist, and every creative act makes the next one easier, better, more refined. Your creative skills compound with practice. But I need to tell you something that might be the most important point of all. Something that, if you miss it, you'll miss everything. The master is coming back. This isn't a dress rehearsal. In the parable, the master went on a journey. He was gone for a while. But here's what every servant knew with absolute certainty. He was coming back. There would be an accounting. There would be a day of reckoning when they'd have to show what they'd done with what they'd been given. And that's true for you too. Not necessarily in some cosmic, religious sense, although that may be true, but in a very practical, inevitable sense. One day, you're going to be old. One day, you're going to look back on your life. One day, you're going to sit with the reality of what you did with the time, the talents, the opportunities, the relationships you were given. And on that day, you won't be able to blame your circumstances anymore. You won't be able to say, if only I'd had more, because the question won't be what you had. The question will be what you did with what you had. Life is going to ask you, what did you do with your portion? And the only answer that matters is whether you multiplied it or buried it, whether you used it or lost it, whether you were faithful with little so you could be trusted with much. The clock is ticking, not to make you anxious, but to make you urgent, not to paralyze you with pressure, but to galvanize you into action. You don't have forever. None of us do. The compound effect works best over time, which means the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now, this moment, today. So let me bring this home with a question that should shake you out of any complacency, any excuses, any delays. The question that changes everything. What if you're closer than you think? What if the breakthrough you've been waiting for is just on the other side of you finally using what you already have? What if the opportunity you've been praying for has been sitting in your hands all along, and you just haven't recognized it because it seemed too small, too ordinary, too much like just 2 talents instead of 5? What if the very thing you've been minimizing, dismissing, or taking for granted is exactly what you're supposed to multiply? What if your ordinary is someone else's extraordinary? What if your not enough is actually more than enough to start? The compound effect doesn't require you to start with a lot. It just requires you to start, and then keep going some more. consistently, faithfully, courageously. Because here's what happens when you do. You start to see results. Small at first. Maybe you double your 1 talent to 2. Maybe you turn your 2 into 4. And it doesn't seem like much. It doesn't seem Instagram worthy. It doesn't seem like you've made it. But the master's response isn't based on the amount. It's based on the faithfulness. It's based on whether you took what you had and did something with it. And when you prove faithful with little, here's what the compound effect guarantees. You'll be given more. Not because you deserve it, not because you're special, but because you've demonstrated you know what to do with it. You've shown you're a multiplier, not a bureauer. More resources flow to those who have a track record of multiplying resources. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Not because of some cosmic unfairness, but because of the compound effect of stewardship. Those who use what they have create capacity for more. Those who bury what they have lose even that. The invitation, your moment, is now. So here's my challenge to you today. Actually, it's not my challenge, it's life's challenge. It's the challenge the universe has been presenting to you every single day, whether you recognized it or not. What are you going to do with what you have? Not what you wish you had, not what you'll have someday, not what that other person has. What you have right now, today, in this moment. Maybe it's a skill that feels rusty because you haven't used it. Dust it off. Put to work. Maybe it's a dream that's been sitting in your heart for years. Stop treating it like it's too precious to risk. Start treating it like it's too precious to waste. Maybe it's a relationship that needs your attention, your investment, your intentionality. Stop taking it for granted. Multiply it through love, through service, through presence. Maybe it's your physical health, which you've been neglecting because you're too busy. Your body is a talent. Use it or lose it. The compound effect of small, healthy choices is massive. Start today. Maybe it's your financial resources, however modest. Stop saying, when I have more money, then I'll invest, then I'll save, then I'll give. Start now. $10 invested today is better than $1,000 wished for tomorrow. The habit compounds. The discipline compounds. The results compound. Maybe it's your time, the most democratic resource of all. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The difference is what we do with them. Stop spending your hours like a poor person and start investing them like a wise person. Every hour is a talent. What are you multiplying? What are you burying? Maybe it's your influence. You have someone in your life who looks up to you, who listens to you, who would be impacted by your wisdom or encouragement. That's a talent. Use it. Pour into them. The compound effect of pouring into one person who then pours into others is incalculable. Whatever it is, stop waiting. Stop comparing. Stop burying. Start multiplying. Today, the promise. There's a better word waiting. You know what the most beautiful words in the entire parable are? Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. That's what's waiting on the other side of faithfulness. Not just reward, joy. Not just success, celebration. Not just accomplishment, belonging. That's what you're working toward. Not to prove something. Not to compete with anyone. But to hear those words, to experience that joy, to know that you didn't waste what you were given. And here's what I know for certain. That joy is available to you regardless of whether you're starting with 5 talents, 2 talents, or 1. It's not about the amount. It's never been about the amount. It's about what you do with what you have. The servant with 2 talents experienced the exact same joy as the servant with 5. The exact same welcome. The exact same celebration. Because they both did the same thing. They were faithful with their portion. You can experience that too. Not someday. Not when circumstances are perfect. But right now, by making the decision to steward what you've been given instead of burying it in fear or resentment. The final word, the master believes in you. Let me leave you with one last thought, and I want you to really let this sink in. The master in the parable gave each servant talents according to their ability. That means he believed they could multiply what they were given. He didn't set anyone up to fail. He gave each person exactly what they could handle and grow. Whatever you have, you were given it because someone somewhere in life, God, the universe, destiny, believes you can multiply it. You weren't given 5 talents by mistake. You weren't given 2 talents as a consolation prize. You weren't even given 1 talent as a cruel joke. You were given exactly what you can turn into something more. The Master believes in you. The question is, do you believe in you? Not believe that you're better than others. Not believe that you deserve more than you have. But believe that you can take what you've been given and do something meaningful with it. Because you can. I know you can. And deep down, if you're honest with yourself, you know you can too. So stop burying your talents in the ground of fear, comparison, or procrastination. Dig them up. Dust them off. Put them to work. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And watch the compound effect work its magic in your life. Your moment is now. The Master is watching. The world is waiting. And your future self is counting on you to be faithful with what you have today. What are you going to do with what you have? The answer to that question will determine everything. Now go. Multiply. Compound. Build. Create. Invest. Risk. Grow. And one day, maybe sooner than you think, you'll hear those words that make it all worth it. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your Master's happiness. That's your destiny. That's your calling. That's your compound effect. Now go claim it. One more thing you need to hear. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what if there's something working against me? What if there are spiritual forces, obstacles, or opposition that's preventing me from multiplying my talents? Maybe you've tried before and things didn't work out, and you've begun to believe that something or someone is blocking your progress. Maybe you've convinced yourself that the reason you can't multiply what you have is because there's a spiritual battle you're losing. Let me tell you something that will shatter that limiting belief. Greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4 verse 4 settles this once and for all. Yes, there may be opposition. Yes, there may be challenges. Yes, there may even be spiritual resistance. But none of it, is more powerful than what's already inside you. You're not a victim of unseen forces. You're not powerless against spiritual opposition. You carry something greater, something more powerful, something that has already overcome every obstacle that could ever stand in your way. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. So stop using spiritual warfare as an excuse for not using your talents. The battle is already won. The victory is already yours. Now walk in it. If you need to hear more about this truth, about the power that's already in you and how to activate it against every force trying to hold you back, I've created another powerful message on this very topic. Click the link in the description to watch Greater is He that is in you, overcoming every opposition, and discover how to silence every voice, every force, every circumstance that's been telling you that you can't multiply what you've been given. Because you can, and it's time you believed it. Amen. Like and subscribe. Have a blessed day.